Have you tried to do a SWOT analysis before and it doesn't feel complete, or you feel like things are missing and it just doesn't give you the right picture of your business? In this video, we're going to talk about how to do a SWOT analysis properly and tick all the boxes that you have to tick in order to get a really good picture of what's happening in your business. Hey everyone, welcome to the second episode of Monthly Mastery, where we go through the key points of one piece of growth content that we've gone through during the month and found super valuable. This month, we're going to be talking about predictable prospecting. It's a book written by Marylou and Jeremey Donovan, and it's a really awesome book for B2B businesses who really want to optimize their prospecting methodology and understand best practices and how they can structure their the whole prospecting. So there are a couple of chapters that are really interesting in the book, but one of them that really stood out for me was right at the beginning. They talk about SWOT analysis and how to do SWOT analysis. Now, I'm not sure about you, but for me, I've done SWOT analysis before, and there always, when I've done SWOT analysis, there are things that are missing. I'm not sure if I've covered everything. Are there elements that, I always wonder if there are elements that maybe I should have covered. I don't know what's missing. So this kind of put together and created a really good picture of how that looks like, and made sure that I have all the boxes that I need to tick. So when it comes to predictable prospecting, and the first chapter, the SWOT analysis, they talk about SWOT analysis having 6 pillars, right? And these pillars, we're going to go into detail in every single one of them, but really just to name them is from the start is the 4P, reputation, internal resources, external forces, trends, and the last one is VUCA. Now, let's go through every single one of them individually. All right, so the 4P is a very familiar concept. A lot of people, especially marketers, have heard of the 4P. Is the very first one is the product. So you do a SWOT analysis around the product, around your product. What are the challenges? Or it could be your service. What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? What are the opportunities? And what are the threats when it comes to your product? The second P is price. So again, SWOT analysis around your price. Third item is promotion. So how are you promoting this? And again, what is the SWOT analysis for your promotion? Strength, weaknesses, and so on and so forth. And the fourth one is the place. Now, place really applies to brick and mortar businesses. That's really big. But if you're an online business, your place could be your website as well, and you can analyze that and do a SWOT analysis around that. So that's the first pillar. The second pillar is reputation. Reputation has 2 components. One is your customer reputation, and the second one is your partner reputation. Your customer reputation talks about, hey, how much your customers love your product or service, how likely are they to switch, and things like that. You could do a whole SWOT analysis around your customer reputation. The second one is your partner reputation. So with your partnerships, again, what does the SWOT analysis look like? So think of partners. Let's take HubSpot, for example. HubSpot has a whole range of partners that they work with. These are agency partners that they kind of sell their product. They could be also partners in the sense of other apps that integrate with their platform. So they might want to strengthen the number of apps that integrate so they become more valuable to their customers. So you could do a whole, again, SWOT analysis around your partner reputation. The third pillar is internal resources. Internal resources have 4 components to it. So the first one is financial resources, IP, intellectual property, human resources. So you can do a whole SWOT analysis around that, and I'm sure a lot of people would know that human resources could be a really big one. And lastly is your physical assets. So again, do an exercise for each one of these. The fourth pillar for doing SWOT analysis is the external forces. Now, external forces is very similar to Michael Porter's 5 forces. If you're, again, in marketing, you'd be very familiar with those, but it's been summarized, the authors have summarized this in 3 components. Number 1 is customer factors. And this is really the equivalent of the customer bargaining power in the Porter's 5 Forces. The second one kind of summarizes 3 components where it's the competitive factors. So this includes how easy is it for new entrants to enter your market? What is the competitive landscape? And lastly, it's about substitutes and how easy can your product or service be substituted. So that's the second component. And lastly is the bargaining power of your suppliers. So are you at the mercy of your suppliers? Do you have an advantage? Again, SWOT analysis for all those components. The 5th pillar for SWOT analysis is trends. Trends has 2 components. There's social demographic trends, and then there's technology trends. You can analyze both of those. Now, the 6th factor of the SWOT analysis is VUCA factors. VUCA, if I'm not mistaken, comes from a US military background, and it stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Now, this is very similar to the black swan concept of Nicholas Taleb, if you're into economics and you like that kind of stuff. But it's all about things that you can't see or can't really predict. So a VUCA element could be financial downturn, which is a negative thing. But a positive component is going into new markets and introducing your product in new markets. So VUCA, again, is another component that you can take a look at and make sure you include in your SWOT analysis. Once you have the SWOT analysis for all these factors, and I know there's a lot of work, but once you have them, you put them all together, you see where some of the common points come up, you summarize them, and then you can put them in one SWOT analysis. And that is probably the most complete SWOT analysis that you can get from any other exercise that you can do. So look, definitely give it a try. Would love to hear what you think, and definitely give the Predictable Prospecting book a read. It is absolutely valuable. We've got tons of value. There's another chapter that really stood out for us, and that's chapter 5 about the structure of prospecting and sales. We found that really valuable. But also let us know what you've been reading this month. We are always on the lookout for really cool material to go through and read. And if there's something that stood out for you and really grabbed your attention, would love to hear it. Drop it in the comments. And for this video, this is pretty much it. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.